All right, this is the floor upside down. I did spot weld or plug weld that rear seam. Looks like I got good penetration. I'm gonna clean that up with a grinder and hit it with primer. Hit it probably with some epoxy. Same thing over here. This is penetrations all look good. I think we're in pretty good shape. So I also screwed the frame rails down to the torque boxes just to make sure nothing moves. You know, I'll just plug weld the holes afterwards when we take these frame rail sections out. So yeah, there we go. On to the next bit. Next step, floor's all mounted in. Again, I have not tied the firewall to the floor, but the back's all done. I want to set the body down on it, make sure that everything is right. It's all referenced off the firewall here. There's really no positive points in the rear, so I'm not sure what this is going to tell me other than good width. But got to try it at some point and make sure don't have something really screwy. I will mark the end of the rocker panels on the body as a point of reference moving forward. But yeah, that's where we're at. Hopefully this goes well. I've got to, like I said, I've got my neighbor Bobby coming over to help me set this down, just because I think there's going to be a lot of pushing, pulling, grunting, swearing, pinching, you know, that stuff. So yeah, but I feel like everything is right. I don't know what I'm going to be into here, so we will see. If I'll bring you back when it's set down and we'll see how it goes. Well, that didn't go horribly bad. It's set right down on there pretty good. One thing I had to do is I had to take out the flanges here that go up against the firewall. I'll have to reproduce these. They were holding the firewall out about an inch, even away from the bottom flange down here, which is also factory to firewall. It looks like the angle on the firewall was slightly different here. Let's see if I can get you in there. The angle was slightly different, and where these brackets came up and up the firewall here, it was just holding it way out. So we had it back, and it's relaxed a little bit since then, but I mean, this was out over an inch, and right now it's just, if I push it back, it'll slide right in. I do think I want to clock it back a little bit, because the top's out a little bit, but I think if I clock that firewall back just a hair with some shims in the front of this bolt, that came up on Amazing Metalworks as well, that sometimes you just gotta clock that back a little, get that to tighten up, then everything fits good. But lengthwise, I think I'm spot on. I feel like everything is gonna work out just fine. Again, this is just the first test fit. You can see this line is where it was back to before when the firewall's tight. Now this is interesting. This is still up a little bit. I don't know. I won't know what's going on here until much later. But either this whole trunk section has to come down or the floor pan has to go up. It could just be the floor pan needing to go up, but I'll know more when I start to deal with all this. Yeah, so not too bad. First fit was pretty good. I had my friend Bobby come over and help me. Took us about an hour to get it on there and set up right, but mostly just because we had to cut and grind those little tabs out, which are not real accessible. So I'll pull it back off. It's a little bit of a cluster here. You gotta pull the floor pan ahead, then lift up with the lift, and then it's a process. just because of that blue bar. But it works. Everything's working. I'm pretty happy with what I see so far. I don't think we're going to be into any major problems here. Everything is actually a pretty big step right here. So, yeah, so far so good. We'll see what we come up with. But anybody got any ideas on why this would be, or, you know, this was how the floor was set up when the rockers were flat. And the rockers are pretty close to flat right now. At least they were a minute ago. All my jig stuff was done flat, and that's pretty damn close. So all my interior bracing I did very level. I mean, the back could come up a little bit, but that's not going to account for an inch. So I'll play with it some more. I'm not going to panic just yet. Just gotta, you know, keep working it. And next step, probably tomorrow, I'll start the process on the mini tubs. But I'm pretty stoked right now. Probably time to go have some beer. Feeling good. So yeah, thank you, Bobby, for helping me out today. It's just, it's a lot to try to wrestle this and run the lift and keep an eye on everything, so extra set of hands in here helped a lot. Then I'll pull that floor back down, get a lot of grinding to do, cleaning up plug welds, blah, blah, blah. I'm probably gonna clock that firewall forward before I do too much more. That might help me a little bit, actually, because it'll lower the back of the firewall, close up that gap a bit at the top of the tunnel, that reveal, but it'll also try to lower my front subframe rear bolts, so those could come down a little bit more too if that clocked it that way, just a hair. But so far so good. I can't complain about these panels. I mean, yeah, there's only about 1 billion bends in that firewall. I mean, to expect that to be perfect is ludicrous. So I'm just going to rebuild those brackets that come off the front of the rocker, and I'll just cut them out, put new ones in, put the plug hole in, and make them disappear. So that is that. Time to drink some beer. Good progress today. So, like I said, tomorrow I'll start my mini tubs.